What I'm about to share with you happened just 6 months ago at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia. And if you don't believe in miracles, you will by the end of this video. A mother named Sarah Collins was told by doctors that her 7-year-old son, Tommy, had less than 48 hours to live. Stage 4 brain cancer. The tumor had grown so aggressively that it was pressing against his brain stem. Multiple oncologists, neurosurgeons, and specialists all agreed there was absolutely nothing more they could do. But here's where this story takes a turn that will shock you to your core. At exactly 11:47 p.m. on March 15th, as Tommy lay unconscious in the ICU, with machines keeping him alive, his mother did something that would change everything. She placed her hands on her son's head, looked up to heaven, and spoke these exact words. "God, I know you can do the impossible. If you heal my son right now, I will spend the rest of my life telling the world about your power." What happened next was captured on the hospital's monitoring systems. Every single machine in that room, and what those machines recorded, defies every law of medicine and science. Within 60 seconds of that prayer, Tommy's vital signs began changing. Not slowly, not gradually, instantly. His heart rate stabilized, his breathing improved. His brain activity spiked to normal levels for the first time in weeks. But that's not even the miraculous part yet. At 12:03 a.m., just 16 minutes after his mother's prayer, something happened that made every doctor and nurse in that ICU stop dead in their tracks. Tommy's eyes opened. He sat up in bed, and he said, "Mom, why are you crying? I feel amazing." The head nurse, Maria Rodriguez, who had worked in pediatric oncology for 23 years, later testified that she had never seen anything like it in her entire career. She said Tommy looked completely different, healthier. His color had returned. His eyes were bright and clear. But wait until you hear what the brain scan revealed the next morning. Dr. Michael Harrison, the chief neurosurgeon who had been treating Tommy, ordered an emergency MRI scan first thing the next morning. He was convinced the machines had malfunctioned the night before. There was no way a child with a stage 4 brain tumor could just wake up and appear completely healthy. When the MRI results came back, Dr. Harrison called in 2 other specialists to verify what he was seeing, because what appeared on that screen was medically impossible. The tumor was completely gone, not shrunk, not reduced, gone, as if it had never existed. The brain tissue where the tumor had been pressing against Tommy's brainstem showed no damage, no scarring, no indication that there had ever been a massive cancerous growth there. The brain looked perfectly healthy and normal. Dr. Harrison later stated in his official medical report, and I quote, "In 40 years of practicing neurosurgery, I have never witnessed a complete remission of this magnitude occur so rapidly. The medical evidence suggests an instantaneous healing that cannot be explained by any known medical intervention or natural biological process." But here's what really sent shockwaves through the medical community. The hospital's security footage from that night shows something that made believers out of the most skeptical doctors on staff. At the exact moment, Sarah Collins began praying over her son. At 11:47 p.m., every light in Tommy's room began flickering. Not just his room, every room on the entire pediatric oncology floor. The electrical systems showed no malfunction. The power grid was stable. Yet for exactly 16 minutes, from 11:47 p.m. to 12:03 a.m., the lights throughout the entire children's cancer ward pulsed with an unexplained rhythm. But the most spine-tingling detail was discovered when they reviewed the audio from the security cameras. During those 16 minutes, while the lights were flickering, the microphones picked up what sounded like singing. Soft, harmonious voices singing in the background. But there were only 3 people on that floor: Tommy, his mother, and nurse Maria Rodriguez. And none of them were singing. When they enhanced the audio, the voices became clearer. Multiple witnesses, including Dr. Harrison himself, described it as the most beautiful, otherworldly music they had ever heard, like a heavenly chorus. But the story doesn't end there. What happened over the next few weeks would shake the foundations of that hospital forever. Word about Tommy's miraculous healing spread through the hospital like wildfire. But what happened next was something no one could have predicted. Over the following 3 weeks, 7 other children in the same pediatric cancer ward experienced sudden, unexplained improvements in their conditions. Not complete healings like Tommy's, but significant recoveries that their doctors called highly unusual and statistically improbable. 8-year-old Maria Santos, who had been in a coma for 2 months with leukemia, woke up the day after Tommy's healing. Her white blood cell count had normalized overnight. 5-year-old David Kim, scheduled for emergency surgery to remove a spinal tumor, had a pre-surgery scan that showed the tumor had shrunk by 70% in just 4 days. 9-year-old Lisa Johnson's rare bone cancer markers dropped to almost undetectable levels within a week. The medical staff couldn't explain it. Some called it coincidence. Others called it a cluster of spontaneous remissions. But nurse Maria Rodriguez, who witnessed Tommy's healing firsthand, had a different explanation. She said the entire atmosphere of the children's cancer ward changed after that night. Parents started praying more. Families gathered around bedsides, holding hands and asking for healing. The fear and hopelessness that usually filled those rooms was replaced with something else: faith, hope, expectation of miracles. Dr. Harrison, who had been skeptical of anything spiritual throughout his medical career, made a statement that shocked his colleagues. He said, "I can no longer deny that there are forces at work in healing that go beyond our medical understanding. What I witnessed in Tommy Collins's case has forever changed how I view the relationship between faith and medicine." Today, 6 months later, Tommy Collins remains completely cancer-free. His brain scans continue to show no trace of the massive tumor that once threatened his life. He's back in school, playing soccer, living the normal life of a 7-year-old boy. But perhaps the most powerful part of this story is what his mother Sarah has done since that miraculous night. True to her promise to God, she has dedicated her life to sharing this testimony. She speaks at hospitals, churches, and medical conferences around the country. And everywhere she goes, she carries with her a copy of that security footage, the MRI scans, and the medical reports that document her son's impossible healing. Physical proof of a miracle that no one can explain away or deny. The question I want to leave you with today is this: if a desperate mother's prayer could instantly heal her dying child, what might your prayers accomplish? What miracles might be waiting for you to simply ask? If this story has touched your heart, Please subscribe to hear more testimonies like this. Share this video with someone who needs to believe in miracles today. And leave a comment telling us about your own experiences with the power of prayer. Because as Tommy Collins's healing proves, God is still in the miracle business, and your breakthrough might be just one prayer away. Remember, faith can move mountains, and sometimes it can make brain tumors disappear in 16 minutes. God bless you and thank you for watching.